Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk finally shared the ring, delivering a tactical chess match that defied all odds in their incredible boxing match. But beneath the surface of this high-stakes clash lies a story of tactical tweaks and adjustments, subtle moments of great significance, vulnerabilities exposed, and a battle of styles that pushed both men right to their limits. In this game film analysis breakdown, we're diving into the strategies that allowed both men to compete in this fight to great effect, as I try to reveal the turning points and hidden details that decided this fight, all before we speculate on what this might mean for a potential rematch. Let's go. Hello everyone, welcome back to A Guy Called Henry. We are here, people. It's time for my tactical analysis, my game film analysis of the fight film between Oleksandr Usyk and Tyson Fury from their first fight. Obviously, it's always a more interesting scenario for me when I actually have a fight between two guys that have already fought to study. You can look at literally, we don't have to speculate quite so much how things have played in previous fights. We can literally go, these two have already got together, these two have already competed in the ring. And so we can see how it went the first time, and we can try and understand what strategies did both men implement and how did this play out in the fight. Now, Usyk won the first fight. I think it was a pretty clear and convincing win. Whilst it was very competitive, I felt that it was relatively easy to score in the end. And I had Usyk winning by far the more rounds, plus he had that round where he obviously gave Fury the standing count. Lots of controversy there, lots to analyze and understand there. I hope you can see how excited I am to do this one, because obviously, guys, I only restarted the channel in July. This was part of the reason I decided to bring the channel back. I saw this fight and I was like, wow, this is brilliant. There's so much to talk about. It was also Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney fought as well, and I was just thinking, so many good fights. There's never been a better time, a more exciting time for me to come back and talk boxing with everybody. And it led me into doing this style of video, which is amazing, and you guys seem to love it. So the game film analysis will be a part of the channel for a long time to come. Anyway, before I get into this one, I just really would ask you to like this video. If you do like it, I put a lot of time and energy into this. It's something that I really try to make as insightful as possible. I try and notice things that I think were extremely impactful in the fights. Often it's speculation. In this video in particular, this is part one of a two-part video series. In this one, we're going to be studying the first fight. I'm going to be trying to explain to you how it played out the way it did based on the tactics that were in the fight, the adjustments, things that forced the fighters to do certain things. And then the video that comes after this one, I'm going to be trying to make recommendations for both men in the next fight, what they can do to change. I mean, the majority of that emphasis will be on Tyson Fury, because he is the man who really needs to change. He was the one who lost the fight. But also, I'd ask you to subscribe if you're a new viewer, or if you're somebody who has been here before, is watching the videos, hasn't hit the button yet. I think every video at the minute, I've got like 80% of you that aren't subscribed, maybe even 90 sometimes. So it would really mean a lot to me if you'd hit the subscribe button. And please get your comments in the comments section below. What do you make of some of the things I point out in this video? Who do you think wins the rematch? And did you agree with the result the first time round? Because I know a lot of people actually felt that Fury did quite well. And I'm not going to look to dispel that. Fury did do well in the fight, but I feel that Usyk was on another level. Lastly, I'll put my link in the description for my DAZN purchase link thing. Basically, it means that if you want to support my channel, if you buy the pay-per-view, any of the pay-per-views through that link, I get a share of the revenue, which obviously just really helps to grow my channel. That is as far as it goes. There's no further commitment from you. There's no further commitment from me. Now, we're going to try and break this down by theme and by things that I saw. So the first thing we're going to look at is the low lead hand of Tyson Fury and how that had a massive effect on how Usyk was able to get into point scoring positions. We're going to be looking at Usyk's feet, his hands, and his feints, because this set the tone for the fight. A lot of that was done in the first 3 rounds of the fight, and that was what caused Fury to fight in a certain way at times and to be on the back foot a lot. We're going to look at Tyson Fury's showboating and how that influenced the fight. We're going to be looking at the Tyson Fury right body uppercut. That was a key punch in this fight. And we're going to look at whether or not it was actually a bit borderline. There was something he was doing with that I think needs to be analyzed and questioned that I haven't really seen talked about. The next thing we're going to be talking about is Usyk's adjustments, how he managed to get the fight back in his favor, and how eventually he started to land those really significant punches to Tyson Fury, because hitting Tyson Fury clean as frequently as Usyk did is not an easy thing to do. I have seen Tyson Fury knocked down before. I have seen Tyson Fury hurt before. But I don't think I've ever seen Tyson Fury hit so many times in one fight. So all of these questions are going to be what we're looking at. All these questions are going to be addressed and studied and answered and analyzed in this video. So without further ado, let's get into it. So I want to show you right here how Usyk set the tone for the fight from the off. And the number one thing that Usyk was able to do throughout the entirety of these 12 rounds was land to Fury's body. He constantly hit him to the body. And they weren't always super impactful shots, but they were always scoring shots. So literally, this is the first moment in round one. They've come together, and straight away, the first thing you notice is instantly Usyk has got his front foot really close to Fury's. And as we all know, if your front feet are close to one another, you're probably in punching range. Now, certain fighters are good at moving at the hip and getting the head out of the way, but the body is likely going to be there. So as we edge it forward here, you see one little jump in from Usyk there. That's all it takes from him. One little step, boom. Shuffles forward with both feet. Fury extends the jab to try and control Usyk, and Usyk just slips right to the outside of it. And something you're going to see throughout my analysis here is if you imagine there's a line down the middle of Tyson Fury, Usyk is really, really good at getting his head off this line. Now, the place where that line really should be is down at Fury's jab hand. Because Fury boxes quite side on, typically, he's not a square fighter, that jab hand is often his first line of defense. He will extend it to try and keep you at range. He will use the jab as a touching jab just to feel where you are and move his feet and reposition accordingly. That jab hand is his first line of defense very, very often. So imagine that line is where Fury's jab is. Usyk is very, very good at getting his head off to this side of the line or this side of the line. He can go either way, protecting himself from being hit with that lead hand to stop Fury measuring the distance. It meant that Fury found it very, very hard to find his range. So on this occasion, you'll watch here, he's hopped in, he gets his head to the outside of the line this time, and he fires a backhand in straight away. And instantly, the moment the fight has begun, he's landed a good, strong backhand to Fury's midriff. And you can see there, Fury's jab hand is over the top of Usyk's shoulder. Usyk's head is down here. So he's got his head to the outside of that line. Now, I mentioned that we're going to be talking about Usyk's feints and Usyk's, defense, his hand positioning, his feet, all this stuff. This is hit here in the context of the stiff arm, in the context of Fury using his lead hand. When I say stiff arm, what I mean is this. When Fury extends his arm like this, and he just touches the guard there, you see? And it's for him to get his range, and it's to make it seem like, make Usyk feel like he can't get to Fury. Now, sometimes Usyk will get around this by dipping his head one side or the other, getting his foot close and stepping in. Other times, he'll just simply get Fury to rethink it. Look, he dips right. Fury has to think about it, because he knows, when Usyk does this little dip here, typically, he's firing the backhand to the midriff. So that's happened a few times already by this point in the fight. Comes up. Fury has to reposition. He reaches out again. Usyk dips down again. You see he dips down, and he circles the hand around here. So he could be going to the head. Fury doesn't want that. Fury backs off. Usyk dips again. He feints the body with the jab, and he follows him in. And all this means that Fury can't just stand there with his hand out and tee off on Usyk. He can't stop Usyk from coming in. And those little feints there, those little movements from Usyk, it makes Fury completely reset. It's one of the reasons that Fury couldn't walk forward with great effect in this fight. Very rarely did you see Fury on the front foot. And it's because Usyk's feet are so quick, his feints are so good. Fury was the reactive one in this fight for most of the fight. He wasn't being proactive with his offense. And it's definitely something we can talk about in the next video. But I think there's adjustments Fury can make there, in mindset in particular, that I think will help this fight for him. Again, here, another great example of it. Fury extends his arm, and he's just touching. He just wants to touch Usyk's lead hand here. Try and gauge the range. What does Usyk do? He dips. He makes an indecision. He dips. And you see the way he rotates this hand round in a circle. It's almost hypnotic. And the point with that is you never know when he's going to release it. Is it going high? Is it going low? And Fury then starts to have to try and track it. Because, as I say, this lead hand often for Fury is the first line of defense. That starts to track with it. You see, he's trying to touch it. And then while this is happening, watch what Usyk's doing with his feet. So watch this. He starts here. Lead foot comes forward, steps into range here. So now their feet are close, okay? Watch again. Fury takes a tiny little half step back. Usyk steps his back foot in, and he pendulum steps into Fury's space. So he's closing the gap all the time, but Fury's not focusing on the feet. He's focusing on the hands. You see where his eyes are looking. They're looking straight at Usyk's guard. So we tap it forward here. Usyk dips down, and he fires the body shot again. And that backhand to the body landed so many times. It wasn't always a really hurtful shot, but over the course of a fight, that is going to take something out of you, for sure, without question. And it's interesting, just before we continue, I've heard many people say that Fury wasn't fit enough for this fight, or wasn't fit for this fight. Dominic Ingle, an esteemed trainer of the Ingle Gym, said this. I think it's absolute nonsense. I think Tyson Fury was one of the fittest we've seen him in a very long time for this fight. He was his lightest weight since Vladimir Klitschko, all the way back, I think it was 2015 they fought. So it's an unbelievable thing to say that he wasn't fit. I think to be able to get through this fight, to get through the 12 rounds with the punishment Fury took, shows how fit he was. I think he was unbelievably fit for this fight. Last one, I'll show you this, and rest assured this happened throughout the fight, and it was something that really set the tone. What Usyk is doing here allowed him to have huge success later on. I will explain that to you later in the video. But this is essential to Usyk's success later in the fight, to actually really hurting Tyson Fury. These shots don't seem like they're hurting Fury that much, but the sum of their parts results in Fury being very hurt. So I'll explain what I mean later though. So watch here. Fury's in the corner. He's been backed up. Again, Usyk's feet, Usyk's feints. It's too much for Fury. Fury extends the arm. That's what he likes to do. What does Usyk do? He just gets his head off the line. Look, his head is to the outside of this hand. Perfectly meaning his body can rotate through this arm here. The point of rotation is there. Now, what I love about this one is you then see what happens. He comes back out. Fury's not moved. So he's like, right, I can go again. But rather than do the same thing again, because, of course, that would be easy to anticipate, Usyk goes, this time, I'm going to get my head off this way and bring my lead hand into play. So this time, you'll see, he gets his head over, goes inside the jab, and he lands that lead hand there. And again, like I say, his head's come over this way this time. The rotation means it's there, and he lands it. And I love that one because it shows him going both ways. And throughout the fight, he uses both of them. Rest assured, if you go and watch the fight, this strategy here for how he was able to get his feet close to Fury, to able to step in with those body shots, this is what gave Usyk gave him the domination in the opening rounds. I mean, they looked close. They only look close if you don't score these body punches. I think a lot of people didn't score these body punches for some reason, but Usyk landed so many of these in the opening 3 rounds. Now, to continue the theme of talking about Fury's low lead hand, because, you know, it's something that he does. He carries his lead hand very, very low a lot of the time, and it allows him to be relaxed. It allows him to throw much more twitchy sort of flicking shots. That flick jab is something he likes to use a lot. We've seen him use a much more powerful jab where he steps through the opponent a lot more, but in particular in this fight, he was typically using a flick jab, which makes sense because it's faster and you can adjust it a bit more easily. You can throw it more in a more unorthodox fashion, which makes sense for someone with great head movement like Usyk, great feet like Usyk. You need to be very, very quick to hit him. But, and Fury did have some success with that low lead hand, which I will show you, but the problem with that is that, you know, either it's the extended arm as a first line defense. If not, he's carrying it low. He tries to use his shoulder. Usyk doesn't, you know, it's easy for him. He just steps in. And it's the same thing again. He lands the body shot there. And it's because this hand is down here. It's a very difficult thing for Fury to deal with this is what he always does with his lead arm. I think that he thought that his length, you know, the reason he does it is because normally he's too long for his opponents. Not only is he too long, but he has the better feet. In this fight, he didn't have the faster feet. He didn't have the better feet. And so he couldn't really get away with just carrying his arm that low for the entirety of the fight. And it just shows you whatever variation of that low lead hand Fury has, whether he's looking to, you know, touch you and use that stiff arm, we'll call it, or whether he's carrying his hand low and looking to fire the flick jab up, Usyk could go to the body in that situation. I'll show you the benefit of it here and quickly why Fury does it. So as he's backed up in the corner here, you see he's bouncing a little bit on his feet, and that was something he needed to do a bit more actually. And you see here again, Usyk is trying to create that same scenario. He's trying to get his head down, and he does there. He lands to the body. Again, you know, that's the lead hand that time. Fury brings his guard up and then, look, touches. And this is where the variation of it is nice, and I think Fury needs to do this a bit more. See, this is when he's not, in this situation here, I feel like he's not following Usyk's lead as much. He's not sort of being hypnotized. So, hand is out. He drops it down, and very quickly from that drop-down position, he flicks the jab up. You see there? He flicks it up, and he catches Usyk. So he varies from having that long, straight arm where he can't really punch with it. It's just to try to feel you out and keep you off him. He turns it into a flick jab. Usyk does land again to the body there. And then Fury tries the right uppercut. And that is something that will be analyzed in a big way in this breakdown. So don't worry. We will talk about the Fury uppercut. But you can see there why Fury likes to carry that lead hand low. The problem is, more often than not, Usyk's head movement is too good. And he doesn't typically get hit by that during the fight. I want to show you this very quickly as well. And this is a very significant moment. I think this is in round 1, actually. And this is, it's just at the end of round 1. Very significant moment, this, because this is also something that shows you why Usyk had the strategy he had early on. So we watch here. We all know Tyson Fury's got fantastic head movement when he's focusing in the zone, when he's in that defensive mode. Feints the jab there. Usyk lands to the body as he does throughout these rounds. He tries to go upstairs, and this is the key thing here. Fury's not ready for it yet. He's not ready to receive those shots. What I mean by that is he's ready. Usyk's not ready to land them clean yet, or Fury's not ready to take clean punches yet. You know, when you often say in a fight, oh, he's not ready to go yet. He's not ready. He's not ready to be knocked out. Well, this is another version of that. He's not ready for Usyk to land clean shots on it. I don't know if that makes sense. I keep saying it again because I'm not sure I'm making sense. But basically, the reason Usyk's investing so much in the body early on is because Fury will dodge most of those headshots. You see there, all the slips, the shoulder roll, rolls under there, gets away, and it's absolutely fantastic head movement from Tyson Fury. He does a little bit of showboating, which we will talk about as a separate point. But absolutely fantastic from Fury, the defense there. And quite simply, not ready yet. Not ready yet. Not ready to go to the head yet. And the body has been heavily invested in, and that is the reason why. But what do they say? Head body, head body. For those of you that have ever seen the movie The Fight with Mark Wahlberg, you'll know that that is the strategy, and eventually that will come into play. We'll talk about that in a little while. Now, whilst I think Usyk won all the first 3 rounds, it's important to note where Fury did well. We've already shown you the low lead hand, the flick jab, the benefits of that. The other thing that we typically talk about when we're talking about southpaw versus orthodox is the idea of each man trying to bring their backhand in play whilst removing the other man's backhand. And to do that, normally, the common conventional wisdom with that is that if you are a orthodox fighter, you want to move in a clockwise direction, like this. Because that brings your right hand into play, and it takes their backhand out of the equation. You see, you're moving away from this hand, and you're bringing yours into the line there. Likewise, if you're a southpaw, you want to be moving in a counterclockwise direction to do exactly the same thing. So whoever can get their front foot to the outside into that position there, that is the one who will typically be able to land the more significant blows, the more significant shots. Now, it's much more complicated than that, but typically that's what they want to do. And there's a good moment here where Fury manages to do it. So you see here, Fury feints, just with a little bit of head movement there. They're sort of posturing here, moving the head side to side, having a look. And you see Fury fires a jab, and as he steps round, as he lands, seems casual, but then he goes with the right hand, and it lands. It catches Usyk on the head there. It's not extremely powerful because Fury's quite far away from the man there, but you can see he did that as he was on the move. He suddenly plants his feet and he suddenly throws. It's something that Bivol does extremely well. And again, this is something we'll be talking about in the adjustments for the next fight video, but I definitely think that Fury moving around with a bit more space there, creating an angle, moving in that clockwise direction, that'll work quite well for him in that scenario there. So I just wanted to point that out. It's something that I think is an interesting thing for him to consider in the next fight. But we said it before, one of the reasons that Fury struggled to get on the front foot was Usyk's feints, Usyk's movement, Usyk's defense. And I just want to quickly show you this here. It's a great example of it. Usyk is out of range here, but he's got a high guard. He's got a nice guard, and yes, the body is available, but quite a bit of distance between them there. You know, that's a good gap between the two men. Edge it forward here, and I just want to show you, this is one of the reasons Fury couldn't just walk him down. Jabs to the guard there. Tries the second one, and Usyk takes his head off the line. Boom. Great head movement. Goes the other way. Fury, little feint, and it stopped the attack. Tries to go again, and Usyk just parries that. And everything Fury did in attack, Usyk, when he was fresh, he typically had an answer for it. And so I showed you a moment of success a minute ago there, but it's such a small moment that, but block, slip. You know, if you're Fury, you don't want to be missing shots. And he loves that double jab, but if one of them's missing, it doesn't set you up to throw the backhand. You want to touch, then go, not touch, miss. Then you're out of the flow of the attack. Now, when Fury did have success in this fight, it typically was off some kind of double jab, some kind of throwaway hook that set up something with the right hand. And this is a good example of that here. So watch. Usyk parries, double little flicking jab from Fury there, flick, and then throws the right hand to the side of the head. Boom. And Usyk doesn't block all of that there. And there were moments where Fury was able to get to him, but it's the amount of times that Fury was able to actually do that. That was the issue. That was the challenge. And it was doing it in a space where he could land and Usyk couldn't hit him. That was the issue. You see the space between them right now? That is a good gap for Tyson Fury, that. Where, you know, that's a big gap between them. Usyk can't really do much from there. And I think for Fury, the zone in which he chooses to attack from is all important. So that's the first sort of 3 rounds. I just wanted to establish there, you know, some things that kind of worked for Fury, things that definitely were working well for Usyk, and some of the things that meant it wasn't easy for, you know, either man to just kind of go for it straight off the bat. We're going to move forward now into the fight, and now that we have an understanding of the things that were established that allowed them to fight a certain way, we can kind of take a look at things in a bit more of a way of, this was a swing moment. This was something that affected the flow of the fight. I'm not saying who won each of these rounds. I'm not scoring the fight right now. I've done that already. I watched it and I know who I think won. I know what I think the score was. But in this instance, all I'm doing is saying this was an important factor. This was an important factor. Even if it was in a losing round, I want us to understand what actually worked well and made the fight go the way it did in terms of the pacing and the trajectory. Now, two things here at the start of round 4 that I want to show you. First, it's something for Usyk, and then I'm going to show you something for Fury. So Usyk here. We've seen this set up many times in the fight. I bet all of you can guess what Usyk is going to try and do here. Fury with the stiff arm, just touching the guard there of Usyk. What does Usyk do? He steps in, he fires to the body. This time, what's different is that Fury, big wide stance there for Fury. He's still going backwards. He hasn't touched the ropes yet. So there's going to be more movement here. There's going to be more backwards movement. Usyk here isn't going to settle for the single, and he decides, I'm going to go again. And you see what happens here. This is such an unorthodox and interesting way of throwing a punch. So boom, lands to the body. This foot comes in, but because all the weight is on his front foot here, all the weight in his body is going through this front foot. That means that when he throws, his feet are going to be close together. Watch. As he's bringing the back foot in, he throws the right hand and hits Fury in the head. Now, it's interesting that because then obviously he can pendulum step off of that. But look where his feet are at a certain point. You talk about not crossing your feet. In midair, they're literally crossed. It's okay in this instance because, you know, Fury's completely occupied. He can't see that. But there are times when Usyk decides it's okay to commit and go for it. He'll do that. So he lands to the head of Fury there. And whilst there are a couple of little headshots earlier in the fight, that's a real sign of things to come there. He's starting to mix in head work with the body work. He's looking to go to the head now and add that in as another phase. And you're taking more chances when you do that. But that is the plan for this fight for Usyk. It's to start with the body and then we'll start to go to the head. Fury will start to slow down. It will start to become easier and easier. Now, only moments after that, we see a really significant thing here from Tyson Fury. And round 4 was an interesting round because it was kind of a transition round out of the first 3 rounds for Usyk being quite dominant. And it kind of showed us where success was going to come from for both men. For Usyk, more effort to the head. For Fury, the right hook. The right hook. That was his absolute money shot in this fight. That was the shot that he needed to work. So watch here. Fury's loosened up a little bit. He's got both hands low, actually. And he's being a bit more proactive, in my opinion. Touches Usyk there. Touches Usyk there. Interestingly, though, now watch this. Fury actually, I think he does this deliberately. And it's something you see fighters doing where they'll aim the jab over one shoulder or the other shoulder. Because if he throws his jab there, he knows Usyk's head's going to go this way. If he throws his jab here, he knows Usyk's head is going to go this way. And the point of that is to move them so that you know you can land your backhand. So watch this. Watch Fury's jab. He fires it. Usyk gets his head off. But look, it ends up over Usyk's right shoulder. That's nowhere near where Usyk's head was. If I go back, Usyk's head, I suppose it was there. But look, if I move, he's moved. I think that he's aimed that deliberately over Usyk's right shoulder there. So watch, he fires it over. Now, he can anticipate that Usyk will dip his head to this position here, as discussed, which is in perfect line for the Fury right hand. Now, he doesn't hit the head there. He hits the body, Fury, and it's partially guarded, but no doubt that would have done a bit of damage. And that is the first time Fury's had a bit of success with that right uppercut. And that is a story of things to come. Because Usyk so often in that first round was taking his head off the line, was throwing shots, which means he's also in range for Fury. Fury can start to read it and go, okay, the right uppercut is my money shot. That is the shot I need to use. Something I want to show you, though, is same round and why it's not easy for Fury to do this. People say, oh, just throw the right uppercut more. I've seen comments. I've seen comments on my channel, people just saying he needs to throw more right uppercuts. It's got to be done in an educated way. You can't just chuck them in willy-nilly and expect that they'll land. Because watch what Usyk does here. And I said before, for the southpaw, the aim is to go counterclockwise. So watch what Usyk does here. Standing in front of Fury here. Fury just touches. And this is what Fury likes to do to set up big shots. He'll sort of touch you, or he'll touch you with the jab, or he might throw. He might just chuck in a little throwaway left hook, just touch you there very gently, really just to give him a point of reference, really just to give him a point to anchor off. So little touch, instantly goes to the right uppercut. Look what Usyk does. Little skip round, and Fury completely misses. That's all he does. Little shuffle step, boom, boom. So he gets around, and not only does Fury miss, but it creates an angle for Usyk as well. Fury moves away, and that's fine. But the point here is that Fury's just had a bit of success with the uppercut. I mean, borderline success. Usyk's already showing you he's got solutions for that. It's not as easy as just chucking a right uppercut. I will show you how it works moving forward, but just so you understand this is not necessarily a flaw in Usyk. It's just that it's one way he could potentially get to him, but Usyk still has the answers. The fact that Usyk has to gamble so much more because it's a big man, he's got to really try to close the distance. That is really, in my mind, what leads Usyk to getting hit. If Fury was smaller, this is why I say Usyk's pound for pound best. I'm rambling here, but this is why I say he's pound for pound number one, because He gives up the weight advantage massively, the size advantage massively, and it's pure boxing skill and brains and intelligence that allow him to compete with these bigger guys. And just to show you here, this is the second setup that Usyk typically uses to avoid the right uppercut. Again, in the same round. In this round, Fury's tried the right uppercut, and Usyk has already shown you 2 different ways he can stop that from happening. So he steps in, as I said before, Fury carries this low lead hand, and Usyk now is starting to shift his thinking more towards the head. So he jabs in here to the head, it falls slightly short. Fury, you see Fury, what he does here, he's stepping this foot round. And, you don't want to be caught stepping particularly, but Fury uses it to lean slightly, plant his foot, and as he rips this uppercut in, you see what Usyk does here? It sounds mad, but he moves his head down. And by doing so, he actually avoids the uppercut. And it's something you'll see time and time again in this fight. By leaning forward like this, it makes it difficult to hit him. And that is, again, something we can discuss in the next video. What can Fury adjust there to make that a bit more effective? But he dips down, and then what happens? Head again. And Fury pulls back, and it misses. But again, you can see Fury is not ready to be landed on yet to the head. He's still doing a good job. I mean, he has landed Usyk, of course, but with consistency, with power, Fury's not there yet. But you see how they both show they're in a place right now where I can get away from what you need to do to me. I can get away from what... I can get away from what you need to do to me. You can get away from what I need to do to you. Moving into round 5. Now, that saying all's fair in love and war. This is a good example of that from Tyson Fury. Something a little dirty here, a little bit naughty. You're not allowed to do it, but it happens quite a bit in fights. See here, now, Fury's obviously been struggling to hit Usyk clean throughout the fight. Watch here what he does. He steps forward, and you see that there. He just stands on Usyk's foot. You see that? So as Usyk tries to pull back, Fury steps in, he steps on Usyk's foot as he's throwing the jab, and he lands clean. And it's because Usyk can't get away, basically. He got his foot right on top of Usyk's toes there, he can't move. Something just to point out to you quickly, because often you can't actually see what Fury's doing with his feet because the camera's at sort of a waist height. But that happened more than once in the fight, for sure. And then Usyk dips under, lands a body shot. But something that Fury did there, I just noticed that. I thought I'd show you very quickly. Now, this is very, very important. These uppercuts that I'm going to show you from Fury, this is, for me, this should be a topic of hot debate for me, these uppercuts. I don't know why they're not. I think maybe people just didn't slow it down enough and analyze it enough. I do not believe that it is absolutely 100% confirmed that these are legal uppercuts that Fury lands. And this is where things start to shift in Fury's favor. In these mid-rounds, I believe Usyk slows down a lot in these mid-rounds because of these shots from Fury. So watch here. Fury touches up to the jabs upstairs. He just touches Usyk's guard. Once, he goes twice, and he brings his foot all the way forward again. Now, he's obviously not standing on Usyk's foot this time, but the point is here, it's actually from Fury, it's a more aggressive movement. We've not seen it too much in this fight. He brings his foot from here all the way over here. Really, being more aggressive, getting into Usyk's range. So he steps forward, and as he touches against the guard, and again, it's super important for Fury that he occupies this guard first, he slings in this right uppercut. Sort of a hooking, sort of a shovel hook. It's definitely an uppercut to the body. And that, my friends, is borderline. I'm sorry, I don't care what anyone says. I'm going to zoom in on that. That is borderline, that is questionable. I don't know where the referee has said is okay to hit, but you see that white line there? Ooh, let me undo that. You see that white line there? That is Usyk's protector. And I have heard commentators like Andy Clark say, I heard him say this in the David Allen fight when Dave Allen was fighting against your man, Fraser Clark. If it hits the protector, that is by definition a low blow. If that is true, that is very clearly a low blow. Sometimes referees say on the belt line is okay when the belt line is very, very high. I think they use the navel, aka the belly button, as a measuring point usually, but that is questionable for me whether or not that is okay. I don't know if that is a legal body punch. It looks to me questionable. I'd love you to weigh in on that and discuss that. But that is a very, very significant punch from Tyson Fury. And worth saying that the only real weakness we've seen from Usyk, if you can call it a weakness, was that low blow, the low blow that Daniel Dubois landed on him in his fight where everyone said, is that a legal blow? Is that an illegal blow? It was definitely an illegal blow. It hit his belt line, which was below his belly button. And even though people wanted to make you believe that it was a legitimate punch, that Usyk should have been knocked out and stopped by Daniel Dubois, he was given multiple minutes to recover. That's the only weakness he's shown. And people also ask that, well, oh, is he weak to the body? Well, I think Fury here is showing frustration and he's showing a little bit of know-how and a little bit of smarts. He knows if he goes to that part of Usyk's body, he's probably not going to get disqualified if he lands it a bit low. And he also knows that Usyk can be affected there. He knows it's possible to land on Usyk there. And you watch again here. Again, you be the judge. Do you think this is a legal shot? Watch what he does. Again, he touches the guard. Usyk steps in. He lands a good jab to Fury's head there, actually. But this is something, again, discussion for the next video. something that Fury might need to look to do a bit more, and that is the idea of throwing when Usyk throws. Anyway, I'll show you. Lands a jab on Fury's head here, but what does Fury do? He rips in another uppercut. I'm sorry. I just don't think there's any chance that this one isn't low. Again, you know, look at this. Look where that's landing. You know, that's the belt line there. The bottom of the glove is there. That's the bottom of the belt line. There's no way that's not a low blow. And you can tell me it is you can tell me that's legal if you want, but I just don't believe that is. Again, it's a big shot, and you can see, look, Usyk dips down. You can see he's like, what the F are you doing? The referee sort of steps in. He doesn't actually, from what I can see, he doesn't actually warn Fury there for a little bit. But look at Usyk's face here. Look at his eyes. He's absolutely fuming. Look at that. He's like, how dare you use these illegal tactics on me, you know? So this is the start of a very difficult period for Usyk where Fury starts landing these right uppercuts. And I think they look low. I think they look like they're hitting the protector to me. And I don't know why this wasn't talked about more. And I would love to see what people think about this. I'm going to show you another one. This is all in a very, very close sequence. Now watch this one. Fury, this time it's this hand just does a little check hook, a little sort of throwaway hook. Doesn't really put much into it. It's just to get his body position right, to create the leverage. You open your shoulders up. That then creates a point to sort of go through to create the momentum for the right uppercut. So again, right uppercut. This one I actually think is okay. Again, you could argue it, but at least this time it's sort of landing on some of the body as well. Of all the ones I've seen, I think that's the most definitely legitimate. But again, lands to the body there with the right uppercut. And when you look at Usyk's face here, you know, still focused on everything, but he is looking a little bit more tired in his face to me at this point. I think these uppercuts drained him a lot. And this was how Fury went on to have his best rounds of the fight. You know, sort of 5, 6, 7. These were the moments where Fury was sort of looking a bit more dominant, was landing some effective shots. Really important to say, if you go and watch the fight, guys, Usyk's still doing incredibly well here. He's still landing a lot of punches, but he definitely visibly slows for me. And this round 5, these borderline body shots from Fury, I think that they're questionable, and I think that, you know, they were a big moment in the fight. Again, Usyk had a lot of success here still, but this is what I wanted to show you. These body uppercuts. And then we're going to go into round 6 now, and I'll show you what was some really, really big moments. And just to be clear, you know, that these rounds weren't that close. I want to show you a good example of Usyk starting to have things in his way a little bit with the headshots. You'll see here, Fury trying to touch him with that lead hand, takes a half step back, and, you know, a good decision from Usyk here. He gets his head off the line, and boom, instead of going to the body like he has been doing, he goes to the head. Head goes off the line. Watch. Head off the line. Left hand comes up, sorry. And Fury's pulling back, so it's not too effective, but he catches him a little bit there, and Fury knows. You can see from the look on his face, he's like, right, he is starting to go to my head a bit more now. He is starting to have some success with that. I need to be careful. But again, you see, even in these rounds that were deemed to be very strongly Fury rounds, go and watch them, guys. They're not landslide rounds for Fury. All the rounds are close, with details leaning it one way or the other.
Oh, right hand, and that wobbled Fury. Usyk. Andy Lees is saying exactly that in the corner.
You know, this is a really big moment for Fury. This is the first time we see Usyk sort of a bit shaken in the fight. Jabs up to the guard. And again, this little check sort of, it's like a little check hook almost that Fury does. But, you know, the idea of it, it's purely there. Like, you see, he almost opens his palm out and puts it on the shoulder. And it's to create leverage. It's to create leverage for this hand coming through here. So watch. Usyk lands to the body there. But as he does that, again, Fury's throwing when he throws. And he lands that right uppercut there to the body of Usyk, and it comes all the way through, and you see here Usyk, he sort of wobbles for a moment, and that's the first time in the fight where, you know, you think, gosh, Usyk's actually, you know, potentially in a bit of trouble here, and Fury's really starting to have some success with these right uppercuts. And this sequence here is big for Fury, and for me this is all to do with those body shots. Usyk's slowing down, the feints aren't there anymore, the head movement's gone down a bit, the feet aren't quite as quick and reactive. Fury extends the jab hand here, and again, you know, now he's starting to touch Usyk's guard a bit more. He splits the guard there slightly, steps in, and again, he's taking more chances now, Fury, because he's isolating Usyk with that lead hand. Usyk's not moving away or in or out, not getting his head off the line the way he was before as much. So when he touches again, he's there. Now I can go with the big shot. This time, rather than going with the uppercut, you see Usyk's defense here is the uppercut defense I showed you before. He dips down. You see he holds his position there. Typically, if it was the uppercut, it would go up and miss, but Fury's turned it into a hook. And so he actually lands to the side of the head there a little bit. Then you see Usyk comes back with his own jab. Fury slips it. And then he goes up top. And you'll see here, left hook to the body. Sort of uppercut, sort of a shovel hook. Catches him down low there. Again, another great body shot. Now watch here. This is a big shot for Fury. This is probably Fury's best punch of the fight. Double jab from Usyk. It's on the second one, so watch. One, but Fury, he's ignoring that jab, and again, he's thrown this little check shot. Watch his hand here. Watch where that goes. It comes up and it loops around, and it doesn't even touch Usyk. It just skims in front, but it's just to create that leverage. It's sort of a fake left hook. It's weird. He almost throws his uppercut through his own left hook. It's to distract Usyk. So that comes through, and boom, he hits Usyk on the chin. And that was probably Fury's best punch of the fight. And this is where you're like, damn, this is a Fury round. This is an effective round for Fury, and this right uppercut is really doing some damage. And again here from Fury, and Fury fanboys are going to hate me for this because I'm showing all these little tricks that he does, and they're not legal. I think some of those body shots are extremely questionable. Again, standing on Usyk's lead foot. Usyk steps in. The second he steps, Fury steps on his foot. So he knows Usyk can't get away. As he steps on his foot, he slings in a right hook. Again, all's fair in love and war. If you can get away with it, then you do it in boxing. You're trying to win the fight. Look, just so you can all see, look. Very, very clearly stepping on Usyk's foot there. Right? Lands a big right hook. Luckily, Usyk partially blocks it for Usyk's sake. And, Fury able to catch another little left hook there. Partially landed. Usyk gets his foot away. But a big round for Fury. Again, just to show Usyk's quality here. To show you that he's always looking for that solution. In this position here, Usyk employing that tactic. Get around the man in a counterclockwise fashion, sorry. Gets around, does a little step. As he's going, Fury tries to throw the uppercut. But Usyk's not there anymore. You see it misses. And already he's finding adjustments for it. Now we're in round 7 here, and things are kind of on a knife edge. And I want to show you what happens here. I think this is there's so many moments there's so many small moments that encapsulate such a big narrative in this fight. That's why I love this fight. Watch what Usyk does here. Little foot feint. And, Fury's on the back foot again. Usyk steps in here, and he does that thing we've been talking about all fight. Head off the line. Throws a jab, throws the backhand. 1-2 to the body. And I think it's smart here that he reestablishes the bodywork straight away, because that's what gave him a real grip in the fight in the first few rounds. Watch here, though. Fury, he's become more confident with the right uppercut. He feels that that's the shot for him. You watch here. He touches, and he goes with the right uppercut. This was working perfectly the last round or two. So he touches, jab even gets through there and hits Usyk a little bit. What does it? I think it falls short, actually. Let's see. Through the guard. No, I think it just misses. But he goes up, and what does Usyk do? He just stays where he is. He keeps his hand up, and it misses. And Fury actually almost hits himself there. But Usyk, you can see he's not going to stop going in the pocket just because of that uppercut. Fury has found that shot. He thinks it works for him now. And I'm going to show you how Usyk turns things around from this point onwards. So at this point in the fight, the right uppercuts are still working well for Tyson Fury. You see his right hand here, left hand low, as ever. Usyk, throws this little jab. It's just a throwaway jab, and he wants to move in there and do his work. But this time, rather than doing anything to check Usyk, Fury just throws the right hand straight away. So rather than going with that first shot, that would require Usyk to parry that or block that or whatever, he just goes straight with the right uppercut this time. And he catches Usyk there, and it's actually kind of Usyk's own doing. He's trying to get his head off the line a little bit. Because he moves his head too far to the outside, his head comes out of the line of his guard here. So you'll see, boom, gets caught with that right uppercut. And it's a good headshot for Fury there. I think this is a great moment. This moment is testament to Usyk's adaptability and his single-mindedness. It didn't matter how when he got hit with those big shots from Fury. He knew what he needed to do, and that was go to Fury's head. And I think that, he starts trying to bring this strategy in these later rounds because Fury's having more success. Usyk will be feeling more tired. He's like, I need to start hurting him, and I need to start hurting him now. And this is an omen for rounds 8 and 9. So, round 7 here. Usyk, watch what happens here. They're moving around. He dips down Usyk, draws the jab from Fury. And then, what does he do here? He just touches Fury's guard. And Fury's coming on the front foot slightly more here. You can see he's having a bit more of a think about it, Fury. Touches it, and instantly, he throws this sort of... It's not a straight left. It's also not an overhand left, but the way that Usyk's body mechanics work, it's like an overhand left, the way he gets his right shoulder down to create this sort of rotation point for the left hand to come out over here. So, watch. Rotates round. Boom. Fires that straight left hand and catches Fury clean. And that is a good shot. Going to head into 8 and 9 now, and I'm going to show you this is where Usyk really took over. And I want to debunk this sort of narrative. People saying that Fury was, I mean, I've seen comments where people said Fury was comfortable and easily winning the fight until round 9 when Usyk landed that one shot. Absolutely ridiculous. And if anything is evidence for that, it's round 8. Round 8, I mean, the damage Usyk does to Fury in round 8, the number of powerful headshots he lands in round 8. Let me show you some of them, because this really is Usyk's round. It's a huge round for Usyk, and this is why I think he's elite. This is why I think he's going to go down as an all-time great. To have taken some of the shots that Fury gave him, for Fury to have made the adjustments he made, Usyk finds those defensive solutions and he starts doing what he needs to do. So guys, if you want to see a lesson in determination and technique and staying to your game plan, go and watch this round 8 from Usyk, because he's had it rough the last few rounds. Watch what he does here. He comes out so aggressive. So double jab to the guard there. He's sort of, not even a double jab, it's a little flick jab to the guard. He then tries to go around with a hook, which Fury pulls back from. Usyk determined here though, look, Fury's pulling backwards in a straight line. And Usyk, and he knows that Fury is wanting to move around this way, as we've discussed, moving in a clockwise direction. Usyk reads that. Boom, he goes for it. I don't think that quite lands clean on Fury's chin. I think it's slightly below. But look at the way Usyk commits to that. And that's a warning shot for Fury in this round. Usyk's going for it. He's going to start getting close. And I've got to show you this here, because I think when Fury starts to feel the pace of Usyk, when he feels like he needs to turn it round, he looks for that borderline shot. Now watch, Usyk steps in, just goes under Fury's hand there. What does Fury do here? Watch. Dips low on the inside, and you see what he does. You can't quite see it because of the angle, but he slips in a right uppercut. And it's hard for you to see where it lands, but it rides up, if anything, and you can see it's on the line there. Again, you know, that's once it comes around the angle. So if anything, it was lower than that. And you see, watch Usyk's reaction here. He steps off and he points down at the belt line himself and he complains. He's like, look, what the F are you doing? And, you know, these are definitely some untoward tactics from Tyson Fury, and pissed Usyk off because he's trying to get into his flow. He's trying to be more aggressive, and Fury's not playing fair to his mind. And I'll let you be the judge. Please get in the comment section below and let me know what you think. This moment's huge. I'll show you this. Watch. And like I said to you before, Usyk did 2 things that swung this fight in his favor. He dealt with those uppercuts and he started landing headshots. I've shown you the techniques he used to deal with those uppercuts. Watch here. So as he's stepping in with a high guard, Fury goes with the little check. Look, that's the setup there, isn't it? That little check just touches there, and then you know that this is going to come through. You know that's what's happening next. Watch. Slings it through. Usyk does that duck I showed you where you dip down and away. It's like that sort of motion. Down, and he misses completely, Fury. And taking away that, making sure that he's safe from that was the key for Usyk to turn this back in his favor. Now, Fury's also tireder. Fury's defense isn't as good. He still has the low lead hands. So what happens next? Let me show you, people. Fight is continuing as usual. Fury throws a right hand, which Usyk just gets away from. Now, what do I love about this? Fury's hands are low. What do I love about this? Usyk's not afraid. You see he's going with one shot here. He doesn't just go for it with one shot. He doesn't miss one and think, crap, I've missed, I'm going to get counted. No, he commits. So he throws one. It hits the chest of Fury. Instantly, you know, from this position here, some guys might want to roll this way. You know, they might want to just try and jump back out again. Usyk's going with the second phase. Boom, boom. He lands a good left hook on Fury's chin there. Fury yells, whoa, you know, trying to make it into a fun little thing. Look at his face there. He's trying to sort of celebrate taking that shot almost. The reality of it is he's starting to get hit to the head, and he gets hit to the head a lot in this round. And again, I should say, important to remember, Usyk's not neglecting the body at all here. Go and watch the rounds. I've shown you how he does it, but if you watch the rounds, you'll see he lands to the body lots still. Keeps Fury thinking, oh, is it head or is it body? And, you know, just changing it up, even making it hard for us to read, because even we've got used to that rhythm and that pattern of him going to the body. Now, here we go, and I love this shot from Usyk. It's seemingly innocuous during the round, but when you see the replay afterwards, which I'll show you the slow motion of in the frames, a brilliant shot from Usyk. He's actually been on the back foot a little bit here, Usyk. Fury's having a bit of success. He's had his guard high, but he finds his moment. And again, Fury's tired, but he always has his hands low as a starting position. So you know when he's tired, there will be opportunities to him to the head. Usyk steps here, watch, and it's all about him getting a little burst of what he was doing earlier in the fight, of the in and out feet. So watch, he steps, bounces in, bounces out. Fury doesn't know how to read him. Little hop, and then he goes. Steps all the way in. Look where he gets his foot to, right next to Tyson Fury's there. All the way in, and because Fury hasn't reacted with his feet, because, you know, Usyk's in and out, it's hard to know, am I going in or am I going out? What's he going to do? He slings this backhand, and it catches Fury right under the eye. And you'll see Fury dabs his face there. And you'll see after the round that Fury's just touching his face there. He's like, what's going on? you'll see after the round, that was actually when Fury's eye really started to swell up. And that was what caused the swelling under Fury's right eye, I think it was. And now watch this one. In the corner, Fury. Usyk's hunting him down. Slips inside. Again, you know, and this is a great example of it because he puts it all together here. The two key things. Gets his head to the side. Goes all the way down. Avoids the right uppercut, which ends up sort of over here. And what does Usyk do from here? He stopped the right uppercut. Now he's going to attack. He slings that shot and it kind of bounces off Fury's shoulder. But again, it's that second phase that gets Fury. Because his hands don't go up Fury and because he's not fresh enough right now to continue to slip. Bounces off his shoulder. Phase 2. Boom. Nice clean shot to the head. And Fury, you know, that's a big shot he's eaten there from Usyk. And, you know, I think the only reason Usyk doesn't press him a bit more there is, you know, Fury's found his balance, but also Usyk is tired himself. So again, here in round 9, Usyk just making sure he's safe. So he's advancing with a high guard. Usyk's got such a good high guard as well. You know, you see the way it protects his whole body, but he's got a little gap there that he can just look through so he can still see stuff. It's a very effective high guard that he uses. Defensive, everything he does is absolutely brilliant. So you see, dips under the jab there. Now it's interesting with Fury because one of the keys to him landing those shots is this hand not being above the head, but being around about here, or maybe even in here, because then he can kind of hold Usyk in position a bit more and feel where he is so that backhand can go through and land. In this instance here, Usyk's still free to move, so he gets around. And nothing doing with that Fury backhand because, as I said before, he wants to get over here. He wants to get away from the Tyson Fury backhand. He does that. He establishes that safety early on this round, and Fury can't quite land it there. And this, from Usyk here, is absolutely genius boxing because at this point, we know Fury's looking for that right uppercut. We know he's going to try and throw it. It's one of the only things that's really worked for him in terms of landing really clean, heavy punches that could turn the tide in his favor. Usyk knows this. And this reminds me so much of the the Joshua Dubois fight where AJ's gone and thrown that right uppercut. Because we know what beats a right uppercut, a short hand, a short shot, something straight. And I've got to show you this because I think Usyk here just deals with this perfectly. So watch what he does. He steps in with the jab and he throws the backhand. And you see what happens here. I'll take it back. He steps in and straight away, look, Fury's going for this shot. But Usyk is safe because he's going with this hand here, which is it's been thrown instantly. So he knows if I go with this 1-2 straight away, it's going to take my head away from the danger. But also, I'm going to beat him to it. So jab there. Fury instantly tries to release that hand, but you look, because of the situation here, Usyk's going straight to the target. Fury has to go with his hand. He has to go down and up. So it's just a longer route to firing your shot. So watch. As Fury goes down, Usyk's already thrown. Now it hits the shoulder. And Fury's uppercut does connect a little bit. Then Usyk goes with a second left hook. And he catches Fury on the chin. Look at the scared look on Fury's face. It's absolutely, you know, wow. I mean, it's just, Fury said these shots didn't hurt him. I mean, it's just absolutely ridiculous to say. But you see, he lands that second shot there, and he goes again, a quick little shot, and Fury sort of almost nods in acknowledgement there that that's a good shot from Usyk. And just to be clear, guys, you know, when I talk about this defense and all this sort of thing, it's not the last time Fury lands an uppercut or anything like that, but the significant ones are gone. You know, he's not landing to the head anymore. He's not really slowing Usyk down the same way he was. They're not as heavy. I think Usyk reads them a bit better. And the tendency of Usyk landing to the head from the early rounds to these rounds has gone up dramatically. And I'm going to show you now the key moment in the fight.
And these guys are not letting us down. Fury's in trouble. The Gypsy King is rattled. He's stumbling all over the place. Do you believe it? Do you believe it? He's going. The referee might stop it. Whoa! Fury, he's down. The corner knocked out.
You'll see here, it's something he hasn't really done much in the fight, and it's a big mistake. It's a big mistake from Fury, and you know, this is one of the reasons that Usyk gambles here, is because of what Fury does. So Fury goes with the backhand on the guard, and then he goes with a little left uppercut. But when you watch it at full speed, he does break the guard there, Fury, but you'll realize these are pitter-patter shots. And the other problem with Fury is he doesn't ever throw from his chin. His hands are never here when he throws. So if he's throwing, if you throw and he's throwing, if you're in his range, and this is a short range that Fury's decided to go from, and we have seen this before, Fury get a little bit lackadaisical, a little bit lazy, a little bit unfocused, and to be fair to him, you know, it's true, he does get a bit unfocused at times, and then we saw it in Wilder 1 when he got knocked down, in the last round because he was standing in front of Wilder. He does a similar thing with Usyk here. He commits in close range, which he can't do with Usyk because Usyk is better in close range than he is. He lands harder in that zone. And you see here, Fury, little pitter-patter shots, goes with the right hand. As he goes with that right hand, Usyk knows fundamentally, because of what Fury is, that shot comes in. The second this shot comes in, I know the second that shot lands, there'll only be one thing in Usyk's mind, okay? Get my head outside this shot and throw over this hand because it's not going to be there. He is not going to block that. So what does he do? Instantly he goes, boom, lands that shot. Fury's all right, but again, what do you do next? You go with the next phase because again, what do you know to be true of Tyson Fury? His hands are probably going to be low and not at his chin, especially at this stage in the fight. Boom, huge left hook from Usyk. And look at Tyson Fury's face. This is when he shakes. This is when he falls back onto the ropes. And that's when he has to cover up with a high guard, which he used very, very sparingly in this fight. And, you know, there was a reason for that. You know, when he went into the high guard, Usyk could land combinations. But, yeah, and you'll see from this position here, it's survival mode for Tyson Fury. I'm not even really going to bother analyzing the rest of this period. Again, if I'm allowed to, I'll put it in the video unedited, so you can just watch this whole sequence from this point. I think I'll have it at the beginning of the sequence, to be fair, but that's the shot that sets it all off. And from there, Usyk on the front foot, chasing Fury around the ring, super accurate. We'll have a quick look at the standing count to see what I think about that. At the time, I analysed that, I understand that, but we'll have a quick look. So in this sequence, Fury's taken a few shots, and you see Usyk lands this right hook here, left hook, and that big left hook there, that's the one that really affects Fury. You see here, he's falling. The ropes 100% hold him up there. It bounces off them, and you can see he's totally off balance. He's falling backwards. Usyk's trying to hit him here. He doesn't quite land there. And Fury's just stumbling back. The rope's keeping him on his feet the entire time. He slumps into the corner, and this is when the referee steps in. You see he steps in here, just as Usyk is about to throw the killer blow. Now, as I understand it, by the letter of the law, when it comes to boxing, you can give a standing count as a referee if the ropes hold somebody up. But there's no reason why he couldn't have done it here or here, and this is the third instance here. Now, number one, I don't think they were holding him up quite as much. Number two, they were definitely holding him up. Number three, again, definitely holding him up. So 2 or 3 was when the referee could have stepped in. Now, if he'd stepped in at 2, Usyk would have had more time to finish the round off, because Usyk didn't actually land any more shots there, so he didn't really hurt Fury anymore in that moment. So if the referee stepped in at the first instance, he'd had more time to try and finish Fury off in this round. When he steps in at 3, he stops the knockout from happening, without question, in my opinion. That's my opinion. You could say Fury could have recovered. He might have gone down and recovered. I think he was about to get knocked out. The thing that we can't deny is that that is a rule that is in boxing. The thing is, it's open to interpretation of the referee. They don't always do it. This referee on this occasion decided to do it. I don't have a problem with it because it is allowed. Did he save Tyson Fury? Yes, in my opinion. Is it illegal? No. And that's it, really. We move forward. It was the referee's discretion, and that's what he chose to do, and I'm completely fine with it. That is my opinion on the count on the ropes. But what I would say is he should have done it before that. If he was going to apply it, he should have applied it on that part of the ropes rather than the part where he was about to get stopped for sure. It wasn't consistently applied in that moment, in my opinion. That's the issue I have with it. And then Usyk would have had more time to end the round. Now, guys, if you go and watch the rest of this fight, the last 2 rounds, I mean, round 10 is very much Fury surviving, and there's even a moment in the fight where you see Usyk could have really stepped on him, but I think he was just too tired. I think if Usyk had a bit more gas left in the tank, if he hadn't eaten those body shots from Fury in particular, and the fact he put a lot of effort into that round 9 to get that count, I think that he could have potentially gone and stopped Fury the next round, because there was definitely moments where he eased off him in round 10. It was definitely a survival round for Fury. But 11 and 12 were again competitive, and that details another component of this fight, which is Fury's incredible powers of recovery. I think second to none probably in world boxing right now. Some of the best we've ever seen. He does get knocked down, he does get hit, but he does recover every single time. Just very, very impressive from Tyson Fury, the way he's able to recover. You know, we saw it for probably the first time in a real significant way in that first Wilder fight. He looked like he was out, and somehow he got up and went on to win that round, got on the front foot. Absolutely incredible stuff. So you go on to see that, and it's more of the same strategies. Usyk continues to push onto the head in 11 and 12. He lands big shots to the head in 11 and 12. Fury has some success himself, but I think those are pretty easy rounds to score for Usyk. For me, what Fury's got to do is he's got to find a different way of defending early on. That low lead hand does not work. The stiff arm that he extends to judge the distance and the range, Usyk got around it so many times so easily. He's got to figure out a different way of defending. I think he's got to be a bit more aggressive in this fight. I think mentally he's got to have a switch in his thinking about how he goes about the job. I'm going to get into this in more detail in the next video. I will look specifically at improvements that can be made. I've got lots and lots of thoughts and ideas, things that we could see, potentially even a bit of southpaw from Tyson Fury given the right moment. But those are my thoughts on this fight. That's how I saw this fight. I definitely had Usyk winning. I think I only had Fury winning maybe 2 or 3 rounds at the end of it. And, you know, it was a fascinating fight. So many other little details I noticed. The only other thing I've not really spoken about is the Fury showboating, and that's because I've spoken about this before, but throughout the fight, you will find moments and you will find examples of where Fury does a bit of showboating or a bit of appealing to the crowd, or whether it's laughing to the crowd, dancing around a little bit, sort of, you know, standing on the ropes and doing a little jig, moving his head around. If you go back and watch it, every single time he does that, it's when he has had a moment that wasn't so good for him, where he lacked success. Whether that was him trying to hit Usyk and missing every single shot, whether that was Usyk putting him under intense pressure and Fury managing to dodge a few shots and then celebrating almost. I believe it's not a nervous twitch. If you watch the fight back, every time, I think his twitch and the thing he does to relieve pressure from himself, and it's maybe a slightly subconscious thing, is he touches his nose and he touches his face with his glove. That's a twitch, because I've seen people calling this showboating thing a twitch. For me, the showboating thing is more calculated than that. I think he does it to try and create a feeling to the crowd and even the judges that he is winning rounds, when actually he's not. It also, Usyk, you'll watch, every time he does it, Usyk steps off him. And it's because he's like, you do that and then we'll resume fighting. I'm not going to buy into this crap. I'm not going to let you make me look stupid. And because Fury is good at slipping and dodging punches, as I showed you earlier in the fight, there's a freshness about him. He can do that. So for me, it's also to get a break from the relentless pressure that Usyk applies. I think it's calculated. He said in this fight he needs to concentrate and not mess around so much. I don't think that was anything to do with concentration. I think it was calculated. And that is my opinion. And that is the final thing I'll say about this fight. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed this breakdown. I hope it was useful to you. As I say, part 2 will be coming, and we will try and look to the next fight and be more sort of proactive in solving these problems and trying to make suggestions and come up with ideas for how Fury in particular, because he lost, might approach the fight differently. And I'll try and think about how Usyk might come into the fight, knowing what he now knows. It will be fascinating because when you fought each other once, typically the range is quicker to find, or it should be in theory. I will also be very interested, though, in this next fight to see how much it's taken out of both men. They're both older. Usyk didn't take as much punishment to the head as Fury did in this fight, but Usyk still had to put his body through hell to get in the condition he needed to, taking the shots off a huge man. It's not an easy thing to do. So absolutely, physical deterioration could come into the rematch, and I'm absolutely fascinated to see which way it goes. And I do genuinely believe, whilst you make Usyk the favorite, either man can win. And at this stage, I'm definitely not going to be making a prediction. I will make my prediction much, much closer to the actual fight, probably a few days out. I will make a final prediction. But guys, I hope you've enjoyed this one. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Please bang a like on the video. If you want to buy the fight, you can get on my link in the description for DAZN. Just gives me a share of the revenue. It helps support the channel, and I'd really, really appreciate it. And, you know, get your comments in below as ever. Let me know what you think about some of the things I pointed out today. And as I always say, on to the next one.